Welcome to Within the Asian Cinema Circle, Episode 2. I'm here with my wife and co-host Shaz. Say hi, Shaz.
Hi.
And as you can see, we have indeed managed to secure another fantastic guest. Everybody, please give a warm welcome to the Fanatical Dragon.
Afternoon, folks. How are we doing?
So good to have you. This feels a bit weird for me, Johnny, because you're like the OG. You could be hosting this, but you've kindly allowed me to host this. And you never know. You might see...
All three of us are the OGs. Before there was an Asian Cinema Circle, there was an Asian Cinema Triangle, which was us three. I think we can all lay claim to that.
Yes, absolutely. But if Johnny hadn't have reached out to us, it wouldn't have happened. So this a little weird, but Johnny was up for this, and we're so pleased to have the Fanatical Dragon for episode 2. Absolutely fantastic. So you ready to rock then, Johnny?
I am indeed.
Okay, excellent. You know the format. You've had the questions. So first question is, could you please tell everybody about your channel, your podcast, and everything you do? And I know it's quite a lot, so we'll sit back and let you roll with this.
I'll keep it brief, but first and foremost, I've got my YouTube channel, which is the Fanatical Dragon. It's the second incarnation of my channel, because my first one was taken down a couple of years ago now, I think. And it probably would have died then if it hadn't been for you guys and for the other folks that we'd met in the Asian Cinema Circle who kind of rallied round and helped me get back on my feet. So the channel's... I'd love it to be more reviews, but at the moment, a lot of unboxings, occasionally interviews, mostly East Asian cinema centric, but not always. Sometimes I'll cover other stuff too, just whatever takes my fancy. Have a podcast, which I'm 1/3 of, called The Mic'd Avengers, which I think is almost about to do episode 9. That's been a blast to do with Jason from Martial Arts Theatre 3000 and with Sean from Food for Thought, who both also have YouTube channels, and Sean's got the Food for Thought podcast. I occasionally, every time there's an issue, write for Eastern Heroes magazine, and other bits and pieces in the background too, but that's the main stuff.
You see, the Asian cinema community definitely needs a dragon.
Oh, yes.
And we all need the Mic'd Avengers. That is... I shouldn't say this because the other podcasts out there go mental because they all love us and we love them. But you're currently riding as my favourite at the minute. I'm just really enjoying it. I'm really digging it. It's been fantastic. I'm going to hand you over to Shaz. That's okay. I'm going to hand you over to Shaz now because we got quick fire round 1, which is very quick. So take the reins, Shaz.
Okay, right, here we go. So Johnny, what is your favourite flavour crisps?
It varies, but at the moment I'm into Walker's sweet Thai chili crisps. I don't know if I'm sure you guys have had them, but I think they also do them as you can get them as peanuts as well, and sometimes we go back and forth. Sometimes we get the peanut version, sometimes we'll get the actual crisps.
Ooh, I've not seen the peanuts. Why have you not got me those when you've gone shopping?
We're on the list now.
Okay.
Okay. Favourite non-alcoholic drink?
Probably Coke or Pepsi, and if occasionally apple juice if I'm feeling healthier. Though they probably got the same amount of sugar, but yeah, normally if given the choice, I'd go for a Coke or a Pepsi.
Ideal. Is that straight up? None on the flavours like cherry or vanilla?
Oh no, nah. And it has to be the old school proper sugar one. I don't really do like Coke Zero or Pepsi Max or any of that sort of nonsense. No, if I know it's bad, I want it to taste bad. And my teeth are...
Dragon takes it straight up like a man.
like a soft drink drinking idiot. Yes.
Okay, name a music band you like.
This one gave me some problems because I like so much music, so it's really hard to kind of pick one. So I sort of gave myself a little caveat of who have I listened to the longest and the most consistently, and that would have to probably be 9 Inch Nails. They're sort of the ones I discovered pretty close to, I think it was just before the first album came out, and I've listened through to pretty much now. So I haven't liked every single thing they've done with as much kind of fervor or vigor. It flows, and love a lot of his soundtrack work too. But they're probably the most consistent. It was very close to being Rammstein. I'm a huge Rammstein fan as well.
Oh yes, I remember.
I've never managed to see Rammstein live, and I've seen 9 Inch Nails a bunch of times live. So I've went with 9 Inch Nails.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
I'd tell you what pointed me in their direction myself was the Crow soundtrack.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
That whole soundtrack's amazing. They got a great song on
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your most visited place?
Again, I can't quite remember. This was another one that caused me a little bit of problems. It's either Hong Kong or Amsterdam. And I was trying to count up. I can't remember exactly because there's one that I've been to, I think, one more time than the other. But I think for the sake of this chat, let's go with Hong Kong because it's way up there. But I might be telling a lie. It might be Amsterdam, but let's just say Hong Kong.
Nice. Two good locations.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what is your favorite fast food chain?
McDonald's.
Okay. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like a McDonald's as well. What's your favorite burger? Just while we're there.
I usually just get Happy Meal.
Just a Happy Meal. Oh,
Get
right. Okay.
Cheeseburger Happy Meal. Yeah.
Because they go nuts at work for the Mac Tasty, the big Tasty. I think.
Oh, right.
I find that's too much. Like by the time it gets to that level, I'd rather go somewhere decent for a burger. I kind of
Yeah.
So for McDonald's, I'll just get Happy Meal and some of those like chicken fillet strip things. That cover in breadcrumbs are pretty good. I can't remember what they call them, but yeah. And my wife's a huge McDonald's fan. Though she can get away with it much more easily than I can. For me, a minute on the lips, a lifetime on the hips when it comes to McDonald's stuff. So I got to be careful.
I know what you mean, but luckily I've got Shaz here to keep an eye on me.
It's good as an occasional treat, but I wouldn't center my diet around it. It's not an everyday thing. And
we try.
Crazily, there's a great book that I have to get. Like, can't remember the name of the guy. There's this amazing photographer has brought out this book called the McAtlas, which I really want to track down, where he's visited basically every single McDonald's visited McDonald's in every country around the world and taken these amazing pictures of it. And he kind of writes little bits of trivia about the different menus and stuff because they're all localized, right? You get different things at different McDonald's restaurants around the world. Like when we were in France for a concert last year, and you get like macarons in McDonald's in France, and they're pretty good, right? The French, the desserts in French McDonald's so much better. And then you get McDonald's in China, completely different. They don't really use ketchup too much. It's more like soy sauce or teriyaki sauce and stuff on the burgers.
Right.
Look forward to that when you're there. You can try a Hong Kong McDonald's experience.
Yeah, I don't think I tried that last time. I did the Kentucky, and that was a bit strange because it was brown meat rather than white.
And Edison
Pizza Hut.
Edison Chen has been doing a bunch. I think he's just done one. He's got Edison Chen's not really acting as much anymore. He's got a clothes brand called Clot, and he keeps doing collaborations with McDonald's. So when you're in Hong Kong, all the packaging from McDonald's is all designed by Edison Chen. It's pretty cool.
No way.
Oh, cool.
Excellent.
At the moment, yeah, and not all the time.
Hope it's not covered in his homemade photography. That's all I'm saying.
No, it's not. No. No, I think he's managed to enjoy that one.
Yeah, good on.
I know what you're talking about. Many people don't.
I know. We'll keep that little secret between us. Okay, number 2 is one of my favorites. Last time we gave it to Andrew, and Andrew had the option of changing it because it's the rotating question. And Andrew left you this question, Johnny. Name a film that you love and enjoy, but everyone else hates.
A couple of potential contenders for that, like maybe kind of give you our worlds related one and then a wider universe related one. So I really like Cat v Rat, Lau Garlong's Cat v Rat, and that's in within our little kind of wee echo bubble community. That's sort of not really held in that much high regard, even by Lau Garlong fans. People just put it down as being too goofy, but I always thought it as being like a precursor to Stephen Chow's style comedy, which just it's a bit more goofy and a bit more slapstick than his other movies. But I really dig it. So I think that would be my Asian Cinema Circle answer. And outside of that, God, there's so many. I think probably just let's keep it at that. No, that's nice. That's a nice succinct answer. I could fall down too much of a rabbit hole when I go into like American cinema or other cinema.
I think it's good to put a bit of spotlight on it, and now that Johnny's, give it a bit of endorsement, I reckon people will look that up.
Yeah.
So,
if
companies out there, take note. Yeah, exactly. I think we got a DVD of it. I'm pretty sure we have.
Yeah, I've got on DVD, and Spectrum put it out. I think Spectrum put it out in France on a box set. But as yet, we've not had a version with English subs so far. So hang on to your DVDs for now.
You never know. You never know.
Watch this space.
Yes. Okay, question 3. Name your favorite Jackie Chan movie and one that you consider to be his most underrated.
Favorite of them all? Probably still the first Police Story, I think, as an all-rounder. It's probably the one that I come back to the most. And underrated, Thunderbolt. Really like Thunderbolt.
True. That is a cracker, Thunderbolt. We need a proper decent release of that, actually. I don't know why we've not had that one.
It's kind of languishing in Warner Brothers archive. They've got the rights to them.
Oh no, not another one.
Not another one, bloody.
There was a DVD, I think, at one point in the UK, but the quality wasn't great. No Blu-ray outside of Asia that I know of. I've still got my PS3, yeah, because I play TV on it, and Thunderbolt was on once, and I recorded it, and it's on my PS3, and the only way I can watch it is on my Play TV. I also have a PS3 that I keep as basically a hard drive for movies.
Yeah, they're good for that. They're good. Yeah, it's a good little system. Okay, number 4. Out of all the different genres of Hong Kong cinema, which is your personal favourite?
Probably old school Shaw Brothers overall. I think it's probably the one that I've engaged with the most. So kind of specifically the Kung Fu and Wuxia movies. So let's say Shaw Brothers martial arts movies. I think as much as I love Heroic Bloodshed, but I kind of feel that none of that could have happened if it wasn't for what happened at Shaw's first, right? Heroic Bloodshed is just an evolution of Chang Che's stuff. So I'm going to go with like classic era Chang Che, Sun Chen, Lau Garlong, all that good stuff.
Firm roots, good foundations, absolutely needed.
Indeed.
Excellent. Okay, now we're going to get into the fun stuff, Johnny.
Is the next one your favourite question now?
Oh, yes, of course it is. You know me. I like to torture all of our friends. Who was your first childhood crush?
This is going to test your actress knowledge. But I think probably, I was trying to remember back, and the first time I don't even think I would have recognised what it was when I felt it. So I was probably too young to even know it was a crush. But it would be Akio Wakabayashi. Do you know who that is?
No, you've caught me out. Completely caught me here. She
is the proper love interest, not the kind of fake love interest in the movie in You Only Live Twice in the Connery James Bond movie. So she's the spy that works for Tiger Tanaka that he meets, that he chases after around Tokyo, and then kind of wants to marry but can't marry, and has to marry the other girl because it's better for appearances, but then secretly is able to kind of get together with her. She was incredible.
I can see that. I can completely see that, Shaz. Well, don't give me that look. That worries me. Okay, question number 6. Tell us, who is the individual responsible for getting you into film?
My late, great, very strange and eccentric and dearly missed father. Entirely my dad.
Oh, wow. That's
Mum
great.
got me into music, Dad got me into movies. And he worked all the time when I was a kid, like a lot, and worked often till pretty late. So it's quite rare for me to get a chance to hang out with my dad. So the only time that I did was if he was off at the weekend and wasn't working on a Saturday, occasionally Sunday afternoon movies. I'd kind of watch together TV, or he would take me to the cinema, usually to see stuff that I was way too young to go and see, that he would quite happily get me in. Because it's a different time then. You could get like 13-year-old kids into an 18 movie if the parent was there. So he took me to see like Total Recall and Predator 2 and Robocop 2, all this sort of stuff we got to see on the big screen together. He'd always complained bitterly about the language, but he kind of enjoyed a good action movie. And he got me into Kurosawa, he got me into watch my first Bruce Lee movies together with him, and he was kind of always very into like westerns, war films, not so much into martial arts. Once I fell down the kind of Hong Kong cinema rabbit hole, I was going on my own, and he wouldn't really engage with that sort of stuff too much, but it kept going pretty much until the end. Like, he very excitedly called me and said, "We're going to the cinema tomorrow." I was like, "To see what?" And he's like, "Not telling you, just come and meet me at the cinema. This is when he was still a bit more mobile. I was like maybe 4 or 5 years before he died, but after my mum had died, I think. And he'd basically got us tickets to go and see Mad Max Fury Road in 3D because he'd already been on his own and loved it and wanted me to experience it. So the only time I've ever been to 3D movies is because my dad insisted on going to those particular movies. Gravity, he wanted me to see in 3D, and Mad Max Fury
that's
Road.
Great. Yeah, fantastic. Oh, that's so cool. That is really cool. Mine was a big spread. The entire family were completely movie mad for some reason. My mum was the one that used to let me get away with the most, surprisingly. My brother and dad would go, yeah. Dad and Mort would go out for snooker, and Mum would go, "Do you fancy watching First Blood?" I'm like, "Can I?" Like, yeah, great. Absolutely brilliant. Right. Oh, this one we have fun with Andrew. I thought this one might break him, but I got a feeling that Johnny, because he's going to be good at this one.
I don't know if I will, actually. Especially,
I reckon you will.
I don't know if I can.
Okay. Well,
I'll give it. I'll give it a good go. Doesn't have me there. I'll give it a good go.
Everybody's wondering now, what is this question? It is hummus, the theme tune to one of your favorite TV shows of all time. We will try and guess it.
I'm not gonna. This is a tiny bit of a clue, but it's got a very long, extended intro that I'm not going to embarrass myself or try and get through. So we're going to skip it. So in your mind, don't think of this as being opening bars. Think of this as being like the main theme that kind of comes in about halfway through, right?
Okay, right. I'm with you.
But it would be do 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 do.
I know it.
Sounds like Knight Rider.
Yes.
Well done, Shaz.
Yay.
I'm incredibly impressed because I didn't give you much and I didn't do it well.
Wow.
Well, that's
First
good.
time.
Very good. Yeah,
That was good. Yeah. Somehow Andrew tricked me last time and ended up having us singing. I don't know how that happened.
Oh, he did Twin Peaks, didn't he? That's pretty hard. That's a very difficult tune to do. I thought, how do I do the intro to Knight Rider without it just? That just would.
Yeah.
Oh, doesn't it start with like the kit, like light sounds?
Yeah.
So.
And then just bass notes for ages, and I don't. Yeah, it wasn't going to work, so I had to give you a couple of bars of it. But well done, Shaz.
Oh,
excellent.
Thanks. Yeah, well done, you.
Well done, Dragon. That's the first one. Looking at you, Andrew. Twin Peaks was so difficult, but though I was hoping for something easy.
It could be a nice, easy one.
What? But yeah,
also by the time
Andrew
Twin Peaks came out, we weren't kids anymore, right? So I think your mind sort of takes you back to thinking like, what did you see when you were super young? And for Andrew, that probably was something he saw when he was super young. But we were already not young people when that came out.
Exactly. I only took one thing from Twin Peaks, Joan Chen. That was it.
Oh, okay, weird. I only remember the guys talking backwards.
All right.
Yeah, I never watched it, but
David Lynch was.
I know I should.
David Lynch was never really my guy. It didn't really make sense until he told me that everything that he did was kind of like a fever dream. And then I was like, right, okay.
Yeah.
That's why I can't. Yeah.
Shaz is the same as you. I got that Mulholland Drive on 4K, and you're like, what? And I'm like, this is genius.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Like, what? We just wasted all that time watching a film that didn't really seem to do anything. Like, what was the point of it?
I'm sorry. But it happens. You get stuff you like.
Shaz, I'm right there with you. I can just about get through his version of Dune, kinda, but not since the new ones came out. I kind of went back and tried rewatching his one. Yeah, they really are.
Superior, yeah, definitely. You got Jason Momoa in there. Shaz likes him. She thinks his acting ability is great.
I think if you should stick to comedy. He's pretty good at comedy.
Yeah, he's good. I like him. I do like him. Okay, can you recommend us a podcast outside of the ACC? And by the ACC, I mean just us Prime members, you know?
Okay, so I think there's the usual suspects. So I think like Podcast on Fire, Heroes 3 are excellent shows. You do yourself a disservice by not letting me pick you guys because your show's fantastic too. But if we're going outside of our kind of little world, they don't need the extra attention because it's a hugely successful podcast. But I really like the last podcast on the left. If you ever listened to that before.
Who does that one?
Oh God, I couldn't tell you. The lineup's changed a little bit, and that's a dark.
It's a horror one, I guess. Yeah.
Not really. Like, I think they it's a kind of mix of like true crime, conspiracies, sometimes aliens, weird like folk legends. Like they've done like
I like the sound of that.
it's kind of just a weird mix of whatever takes their fancy, but quite long, deep dives. Serial killer is probably the thing that they go into the most in depth. Like they'll do 4 or 5 part shows on one subject, and each one's like 2 hours. So they're great for me to kind of listen to when I'm at work. And I think also really like Do Go On. Do you ever listen to Do Go On? Do Go On.
No, not at all.
Do Go On's much funnier because it's mostly all the hosts are 3 stand-up comedians. Basically, the idea is that one of them will pick a subject each episode and have to write like a report on it, and then they'll read the report out to the other 2 who just basically spend the whole time cracking wise and making jokes when appropriate, because sometimes they cover pretty deep, quite dark stuff too. But it's much more wide ranging. Like they'll sometimes do it on a person, like they'll do it on the life of like Michael Jackson, or they'll do it on like an event like they did Chernobyl. Quite a deep dive into that. Quite often do true crime, but with a funnier slant. Like they did a great episode about DB Cooper. If you've heard about the story of DB Cooper, there's a guy who hijacked a plane and then jumped off the plane halfway through.
I know the one. Yeah,
and was never seen or heard from again. That's an incredible episode because they start off being really very much against him. By the end, they both look like the other 2 hosts absolutely loved the whole idea of DB Cooper. Kind of becomes like a hero to them. But their show is really, really entertaining. So it's probably my main go-tos outside of movie stuff. And last one I'd give a shout out to is, I'm going to have to double check the name for because I don't want to mess it up. But Sam Dagan's got a podcast. I think hers is called Eros and Massacre. And that's a fantastic show too. She gets some very, very good people on to interview. Like she spoke to
she's good.
To Tom Mez recently. That's a fantastic episode. So yeah, that would be my recommendations.
I think I've listened to a different podcast with Sam Deegan as well. A horror one. I can't remember what it is. But she's in a horror one as well. But yeah, this is good. I mean, last time Andrew gave us one, a David Duchovny one. I can't remember what it was called, but that was really good as well. So I'll be checking those out, and you can guarantee they'll probably go on my playlist. It's my ever-growing playlist.
Yeah.
I apologise in advance for last podcast. It's been going for a long time. And there was, like, I kind of like the original lineup. One of the guys ended up having to leave, and I can't remember for why, but it wasn't for good reasons. But I'm a bit sorry that he had to leave because his episodes are really good. And the new guy that's come in is good, but it doesn't quite have the same dynamic as it used to. So if you're going to start checking it out, go back to the beginning, listen to the earlier ones.
Okay. Right. No, I usually do that anyway. I skip through like beginning, middle, and end. That's what I usually do. Right. What are we up to, Shaz?
Number 9.
Right. Okay. Number 9. What is the craziest thing you've ever done, if you can tell us?
Probably moving to America. If we're defining craziest as irresponsible, ill thought out, and probably shouldn't have, then yeah, moving to America when I was not very well equipped to do it financially, or I hadn't worked things through at all. I just upped and left and tried to make that work, and that was a spectacular disaster. Don't try and relocate country without without a job first and foremost, and without a little bit of funding behind you and some sort of definite plan. I'd kind of moved all my stuff over first before realizing how bad. I'd been back and forth a little bit first, but then kind of moved over wholesale, and then that was difficult for quite a long time, and financially broke me for probably about a decade after I ended up having to come back.
Jeez, you was there for a decade. I didn't realise.
I was there for in total. I was there for about 6 years. It kind of messed me up for about 10. It took me about 10 years to recover, financially. But yeah. That was probably I don't know if that's what you're meaning by craziest thing, but
that sounds pretty. You think that qualifies as crazy for sure.
Okay,
excellent. I like that one. That's
but don't regret it, because it was interesting, but it was stupid. I should have thought it out a bit better.
We all have to do some of these things that are unexpected at times, don't we? Just to see where the path takes us.
Yeah.
Right, number 10, and this is a fun one. Where would you like to go on holiday right now, if you could? Anywhere you wanted to go.
Japan. Japan's somewhere that I've never had a chance to visit yet. Desperately want to. So if I could go somewhere right now, it would be Japan.
Yeah, that
Nice.
sounds cool. We got
Yeah.
plans for that, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
After Hong Kong, it's Japan, and we saw like all Corliss's posts, from
Mhm.
Heroes 3, and it's like, oh my god, that looks so good. We've got to
Mhm.
do that. Have you seen? You can actually go in the Mario karts and race around that Tokyo on the
Mhm.
streets where they got that crossing.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'd love that.
Bonkers.
Especially if I got me a Mario suit. Can you imagine that? That'd be so cool.
Right. Honestly, you've got more of a Luigi vibe. If you grew a tash, you're that little bit taller. Yeah, you're not short and stocky enough to be able to pull off Mario, but you could definitely do Luigi.
I could do green and blue. I could do green. Yeah. You have to be Mario then.
No, she has Princess Peach.
Thank you.
Don't do your wife dirty for comedy laughs.
Oh yeah, you like a bit of comedy, don't you, Shaz?
Yeah, but
Yeah, I know, but not at her expense. Just laugh together.
I know. It'd be at my expense.
Princess Peach would be better.
Princess Peach. Okay, yeah. This is going to go a weird direction now, so I'm going to hand it back to Shaz for quick fire round 2.
Yeah.
Take the reins, Shaz.
Okay, right, here we go. So, beer or wine?
Never managed to get into beer. Don't really like the taste of wine, so I'm going to be sneaky and say sake, which is technically rice wine, but kind of more of a
That will
spirit.
do.
I don't think I could drink a full wine glass of sake. It would be pretty messed up. But if I have to drink something alcoholic, it can usually be sake. I think that's the only alcohol we've got in the house. Is usually always sake.
Oh, okay.
Went through a tequila phase. I did quite like tequila, but found that I couldn't eat at the same time as it. I couldn't drink tequila and eat. It just took over the taste of whatever I was eating. But I can have sake when I'm eating, so I like sake.
Oh, that's all right then.
Cool.
Did you do slammers or salt and lemon with the tequila?
Sometimes, but other times it would just be like, wouldn't always be pretending that I'm cherry on fat, because you make a mess doing that stuff like slam it. It's not so easy to do. And they put something else in it to make it fizz. It was like soda water, right? And soda water together with it, not so nice. Just sort of changes the taste. So soda water is really like quite bitter. So I'm pretty sure they just did that for dramatic.
Yeah, it does it with ginger ale as well.
Yes, yeah. Well done. But that changes the color of it and totally changes the taste.
Yeah.
Tequila I think best when it's just neat, but sake's way nicer. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so biscuits or cake?
This might be my hardest question out of all the questions. So it's like choosing between children. I love both. I've thought about being an arsehole and saying Jaffa cakes, but I'm not going to do that.
Oh.
And no one outside the UK will know what we're talking about. So that's not fair. Because there was a very contentious lawsuit about whether that was a cake or a biscuit. Because you basically pay more tax, right? If it's a biscuit, you pay higher tax. Cake pays less tax. So they tried to argue that Jaffa cakes were cakes. And ended up for the court case baking a massive Jaffa cake and taking it in, saying like, "See, it's totally a cake." I think they won. Anyway, but
I think it's to do with if it goes soft or hard, if it's left out in the
yeah, totally right. Yeah.
Because a biscuit goes like soft, doesn't it? But cakes go hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's got that the right way round. So, but Jaffa cakes do go hard, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
But to answer the question and not give a random side tangent, anyone outside the UK is like, what on earth are they talking about? I think probably overall cake. I probably eat biscuits more because it's harder to justify eating a birthday cake every day when it's not your birthday. But I happily would. I really do love cake. So I think cake's my favourite, but I reluctantly make do with having biscuits more often.
That's cool.
Absolutely. Right. So, coffee or tea?
This is less hard. Coffee. I love coffee.
Okay.
Love tea as well. I've just been drinking a cup of tea there, but for the most part, coffee. Drink way more coffee than I do tea.
Is that black coffee or do you have milk?
Oh no, I'm always milk and two. NATO standard.
Right.
But in tea, just milk, unless it's like green tea or like fruit tea, then I won't put milk in it. But yeah, if it's tea, milk, no sugar. If it's coffee, milk, 2 sugars.
We had some good tea recently, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Tell Johnny where we went.
Oh, I'm forgetting the name of the shop. Fortnum and Mason's. When we were in London,
fancy.
We just ended up in Piccadilly, and we were like, they were just opening the doors, and you were like, "Well, let's go in." So we went in,
just stumbled in,
and we were in there for 2 hours, weren't we? There was so much to look at.
They would have given you. Did they give you a proper pot? Did you actually have tea when you were in there? Have they got a cafe?
Well, we cheated. There is a cafe. We did have a coffee in there, didn't we?
We had a latte, which comes with a little ice cream cone on a clip on the edge of the coffee.
Yeah.
And then what did I have? I had an egg custard tart, best I've ever had, and you had the raspberry chocolate cake.
A massive slab of cake, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then we came back with these expensive tea bags, and oh my god.
Yeah, well, we thought we're only going once, so we treat ourselves. But the different tea selections.
Yeah.
It was just like, standard black tea. But so nice. We've tried each one because there's like a pack of like 60 tea bags, 6 different flavors, 10 of each. So nice, aren't they?
So nice, and we feel posh. We feel posh.
Yeah,
and also takes you back to when you were there. So that's a kind of good thing to take away as a memento, because it kind of lets you like revisit, live vicariously again, remembering that trip every time you're having a cuppa.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was nice, wasn't it? Yeah. Right. Okay. So next question: cats or dogs?
We've had both at various times, not together at the same time. But when I was growing up, I think we had cat first, then a dog, then mostly cats since. Technically 2 dogs. But myself personally as an adult, I've always had cats. And given that my own cat is looking at me with eyes that are saying like, "You'd better pick cat, unless you want mauled tonight to your seat." So for the time being, I would say cat.
Cool.
I don't want to get scratched any more than I will anyway.
Wise.
Cool. Right.
Oh, you only want to do the first half. I have the 2 on there in case we have female guests.
Oh, right, okay.
But you can do both if you want.
Yeah. I thought that was the whole deal.
Okay, let's go for it.
Yeah, so shall I do the ladies first? Scarlett Johansson or Margot Robbie?
As an actress, Scarlett Johansson. As a person, Margot Robbie. Is that a cop-out answer? Because I think Scarlett Johansson's the better actor. Like, she does more interesting stuff and more interesting stuff that I've seen. But when I've seen them interviewed, Margot Robbie seems way more of a nice person and more of a laugh. And she's like super into death metal, which is really unexpected.
I didn't know that.
You see those videos of like her getting like shout outs on stage from Slipknot and stuff. She went on some talk show and said that like going to see Slipknot was one of the best gigs she'd ever been to. So she started getting all these random video messages sent to chat shows when she's on and being like, hi Margot, this is the lead singer of Slipknot. Glad you're a big fan. And it's just very odd to me. But so I think that's not a cop-out answer, then yeah. I think Scarlett Johansson, better actress. Margot Robbie seems like a nicer person. It's that Australian thing coming back again. We've come full circle.
Yeah. Okay, so then is it Henry Cavill or Jason Momoa? Henry
Cavill. I think definitely seen way more of his things, and I think he's going to end up being the better actor in the long run. I think you can already see it. I think if we were just purely looking at the sort of superhero movies that he'd made, I'd still pick Cavill. But I think he's going to make more and more great choices the older that he gets. I just think he's going to settle into becoming like a kind of the way that Pierce Brosnan is now. I think he's going to be, we're still going to be like have Henry Cavill making stuff for the next 30 or 40 years. Momoa, I think, just seems to always play Momoa now. He's become like, he's just always playing this sort of like light-hearted, slightly goofy, slightly flamboyant, crazily dressed version of himself post-Aquaman, which is cool too, but I think Henry Cavill.
Okay, so that answers both of those.
Yeah, thank you. Right, so Japanese or Korean films?
This is the most painful to very hard. It really is really, really hard. So again, I'm going to be sneaky and get out of it in a roundabout way. I think traditionally, so from older cinema's point of view, Japanese films unquestionably. And I think we probably wouldn't have the same type of Hong Kong and American movies if it wasn't for Japanese films, and that relationship would go that way. But Japanese cinema bit more important in the overall history of film. If we're talking modern day, South Korea is making better movies currently by a law of numbers. There's certainly been some amazing movies out of Japan the last couple of years, but there's been a way higher volume of amazing things coming out of South Korea. Awkward again. Japanese films, if I had to just pick one. But I would say that South Korea is making the better movies now, but I think for how many that I like that have come from the one place, Japan probably still tips the balance because it's got so much of a history. So
it's a good point. Imagine if John Woo didn't have people like Seijin Suzuki to look up to. Where would we be?
This is true.
No Dollars trilogy.
Yes. The Dollars trilogy. Oh, were the Sergio Leone ones. Yeah, because they came from obviously like Yojimbo, wasn't it?
Yeah, to the point that there was a lawsuit. Kurosawa, absolutely, basically. Because it's almost a straight remake, really. I think it's a kind of different enough film in a way, but no, he successfully argued that it was basically just his movie remade in a slightly different place. And, but that relationship totally went both ways. Like the Japanese absolutely started making like film noirs and stuff, which was definitely based on what was happening in American film noir. They just did a little bit later. And the same way that John Woo and a lot of Hong Kong filmmakers became obsessed with kind of French New Wave cinema, all feeds into each other. So it all goes back and forth. So I don't think any one country can definitively say like we're the best, but between those two, Japan's got like decades and decades and decades worth of amazing movies, and South Korea's kind of only got like 25 years. They only really found their speed in like the early noughties.
That's far. It's good to see they didn't go after the Kung Fu instructor, but then that wasn't quite as similar, was it?
No, but there's a movie that we were talking about earlier on that we can't talk about now because it's super secret for us now. But I was just watching the Korean remake of that particular movie. Sorry, that's a really infuriating answer for anyone who's not privy to our private conversation. But yeah, there still goes back and forth. And this one I can pick. Believer. Have you seen the South Korean movie Believer? It's like I haven't seen that one. It's kind of like a straight, almost a straight remake of Johnny To's Drug War. I kind of prefer it. In that instance, I kind of prefer it. I think it's like better soundtrack, a bit more stylistic, a bit more of a twisty plot, and it's a sort of much slicker production. So,
this is going to shock you now, but Shaz and I haven't seen Drug War. I know Johnny Tell and Louis Koo, and we've not seen it. I know.
What?
That's okay. Yeah, I would almost sort of suggest that you go. As a social experiment, we should try and do it the other way around, right? You should see Believer first and then watch Drug War.
We will do that.
Yeah.
Because I think Believer Part 2, I think, is on Netflix, because Netflix made the sequel and it's not great. But I think Netflix have also got the first part. So if Believer Part 1 is on Netflix, then absolutely watch that. Amazing soundtrack. Really, really good soundtrack.
Again, we have Drug Lord on the PS3.
Drug Lord or Drug War?
Sorry, Drug War. The Toe one with Louis Koo.
Yeah. Drug Lord, I think, is something slightly different. I think Drug Lord came a bit later. I can't remember.
Age, Johnny. It's just.
That's all right. I'm right there with you. Don't worry about it.
Back to the boss.
Okay, so Superman 1 or Superman 2?
I think probably 2. I think overall, it's like more fun and better villains.
Yeah, that's where you're at. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially that's the one where there was the two cuts.
The Donna cut, you got the Donna cut, didn't you? Which I think Andrew
made more sense. Yeah. Right.
Big one.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Neither's doing particularly well at the moment, but I think probably overall Star Wars. That was the bigger impact when I was a kid. I think I'm of that age that by the time that he did the prequels, I was already starting to check out a bit. Like the prequels felt not great to me compared to how the originals felt when we were kids. And with 20 years, the prequels now don't look that bad given what's to come. I watched Andor. I really did like Rogue One, right? I thought Rogue One was a good return to the way it felt with the original trilogy, and it was so cool seeing like Donnie Yen in that universe. So I really enjoyed Rogue One, and so as a result, I've really enjoyed Andor, because that's kind of like a very long, slow build up to Rogue One, and thought it's been really well put together.
I didn't believe it until I saw it at cinema. I didn't believe it when somebody said there's a Star Wars film with Donnie Yen in. I'm like, oh, come off it! 2 of my favorite things ever, and that's going to collide. No way! But it happened. Yeah.
The Force is with him. He's with the Force.
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah. And nobody talks about poor old Jiang Wen, who was
That's
really
true.
good in that.
He was very good in it. That was meant to be, at one point, that was meant to be Samo, right? It was meant to be Samo playing that part.
I didn't know that. I don't know. I don't think I knew that. No.
Supposedly so.
Yeah, I think I would have preferred that, but
yeah, that would have been fun.
No
but
slight to Jiang Wen.
I think his health wasn't great at that point, really, and so I think, I mean, he certainly could have probably done it. He did way more crazy stuff with the help of a couple of plus size doubles in Twilight of the Warriors, but it kind of would have been very cool. But there was I kind of feel they did a better job with him than they did in the main sort of line of the movies, getting the guys from the raid in and then doing absolutely nothing with them in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, that was disappointing.
Yeah, it's a crime against cinema there, pretty much. That was pretty shocking. But Rogue One I did really enjoy. And have you guys seen Andor?
No, we haven't seen it. We've only seen The Mandalorian and Book of Fett. We tried Obi-Wan, didn't like it. That was it, wasn't it? That's all. Extent of the Disney window we had.
First season of Mandalorian was pretty good. Then it kind of like seemed to not go great. But the Andor pretty consistently been really good. It's a lot more adult than the other stuff. I kind of wouldn't sort of suggest it being aimed at kids the way that most of the Star Wars stuff is, but beautifully well done, and a lot of like real locations. Like they kind of find crazy brutalist modernist architecture and then just add other bits and pieces around it, so it like looks the best to me that Star Wars maybe has ever looked, and some really great performances in it. I'd really check it out. It's only 2 seasons and they're both quite short.
Okay, well, I keep hearing this, Shaz, and now Dragon's mentioned it. I really.
It's just a bit weird because you know where it's going. Like, if you've seen Rogue One, you know where ultimately what's going to happen. Ends up. So it's a bit weird investing like 20 hours or something of your life and being like, okay, I kind of know this isn't going to have a happy ending, right? But you're still just watching because it's pretty well put together. Yeah, good. Yeah. So good. Overall, I think Star Wars. I'm not like totally averse to Star Trek, but drift in and out of it much more than I did with the other. So I think I got pretty into deep
space. Just so you know, Trekkies. Okay.
Here. I can hang still. I can talk and like I saw. I did really
live long and prosper, Johnny.
More, I really like Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Cisco. He was good.
Yeah. I kind of liked that it wasn't just they had a ship that they went out in occasionally, but it was more like the fact that it was sort of set around a space station rather than voyaging out every time. Yeah. And who was the androidy shapeshifty android guy?
Odo.
Yeah.
I
like Deep Space Nine and little bits of Voyager too. I kind of quite like Voyager when it was cool.
Yes, yeah, like that.
And Next Generation. I think it's probably just the original series that I didn't get too into. I just found it a little bit too. I just came to it at the wrong time, so I'd seen other stuff. So Kirk, the old OG Kirk, never did it for me. And then the reboots were
handsome though. Well, honestly, god damn.
The reboots were okay, the movies, but again, not really my thing. Like the JJ.
It's breaking my heart here, Shaz. You're gonna have to move on to the next question. I can't take it anymore.
Okay, ready. So, John Woo or Ringo Lam?
John Woo.
Wow, that was easier than I expected.
Yeah.
Okay, try this one on size.
Jackie Chan or Sammo Hung?
That one's harder. But I think probably overall, Sammo. I think Sammo is like the more surprising to me as a filmmaker. Jackie, I think at a certain point, Jackie just started making Jackie movies, which is cool, and I love them, and I'm all in there for him.
Yeah.
But I think he he knew what were the things that people were really responding to, and he just basically kind of, I'm not going to say it was lazy, but he just sort of rinsed and repeated a certain type of thing that he knew his fans were going to respond to. Where I think Samo took more risks and did slightly more interesting stuff. And I think Samo was a bit more brutal as a filmmaker in everything that he was sort of doing. And that's been a bit more interesting to me in the long run. So I think,
he's made it up to me now with this one. He knows how much I love Samo.
Samo's incredible. I think again, without being too chin strokey about it, but would Jackie be Jackie if it wasn't for having a big brother like Samo?
Yeah, he brought the best out in him.
Yeah.
Tough love, but yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
Yep. Right, go on, Shaz. The quick fire is not so quick anymore.
I think that's them,
is it? No. We're up to number 11.
They're not quick fires though.
Oh right, okay. This is me. Okay,
this is you.
It's back on me.
Take it away.
Sorry, Shaz. Okay, what film would you most like to see a remake of, if you would?
I think I'd love to see someone do Disney's The Black Hole and give that a bit of a makeover, because it had such a cool soundtrack, and it was like a couple of really very memorable robots. Yeah, and I know it's sort of their attempt to try and make a Star Wars, but it's nothing like Star Wars. And
it's
it's
so
kind of
dark,
like its own. It really is. It's like really kind of super grim. Like it's got Anthony Perkins from Psycho in it, really, and he's not much more endearing in this than he was in Psycho. He's sort of trying to be a nice guy, but he's not really that much of a nice guy. And even the robots are sort of spouting weird philosophy. Like Vincent is like, really, really good. I really like the Black Hole.
Maximilian.
Crazy Maximilian Schnell, and his robot was terrifying.
Yeah, it was so good. I mean, that is a good one. Actually, like you say, such a good cast. Ernest Borgnine as well. And that soundtrack, Black Hole, that's a really good one. Okay. Yeah, that would be good. So, in your opinion, which television show was cancelled too early?
Mindhunter on Netflix, David Fincher's show.
Absolutely right.
That was kind of feel like it was setting up these sort of little points to really get into the BTK killer story. Like you saw him kind of dripped in amongst the first two seasons, and we never sort of saw that storyline kind of wrapping up. And just really like that cast, and I kind of really like the girl. I can't remember the name of the actress. You guys will have to help me out. But the girl who's in Fringe.
Fringe. Yeah.
Is it Anna Torv?
That's it. That is it. Yeah.
She was great in it. I thought the dynamic between our sort of two main FBI leads also really Jonathan Groff, and I can't remember the name of the other dude, but he was also really good. Holden. Anyway, not important, but really, really like that show, and Fincher's direction kind of really great, and just thought it was really, really well put together. I was loving that show.
Yeah, I wish they'd do a season 3. I really do, but never mind.
Don't think it'll happen. Netflix have a tendency to like just let things fall by the wayside, and it's been so many years now. I don't think to go back.
And I think Fincher said it was like so much work as well, didn't he? So.
Oh right.
So
not working quite a lot of money too.
Okay. Out of all the Blu-ray labels out there, which one do you have the most of in your collection?
Legitimate or fake?
Yeah, we're not counting the Criterions that don't exist that I spent hours looking for on Amazon, and like, why the hell?
I do have it's like it's my equivalent, I guess, of like some people like to play with model train sets, and some people like to build like World War II fighter jets, and I like to make fake Criterion covers for movies that will never ever end up in the Criterion collection, because otherwise I don't know where to put them. So I've got more of them than I've got anything else. But if we go legitimate labels, probably Arrow. I think Arrow probably. I think partly because of the box sets. I think probably closely followed by 88 Films. I think because all those Shaw Brothers movies rack up the numbers with 88 Films. After that, that's probably. I think Arrow's probably got a pretty big lead actually. Yeah, I think Arrow.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure Arrow as well. Probably quite far away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I'm not sure after that. But name one thing on your bucket list.
I think probably getting back to Taiwan. So although the next place we go is probably going to be Japan, I was really blown away by how much we liked visiting Taiwan. Wasn't expecting to like it so much. I think maybe in my mind thought it was going to be a bit like visiting China again, and it couldn't have been further removed from that. It was very, very different. It was like a weird fusion of lots of different things, and Japanese occupied there for so long. There was a massive Japanese influence there, so like a lot of Japanese architecture, huge amount of Japanese food, and bits of Japanese culture, like kind of anime and toy shops and stuff everywhere. But everyone spoke Chinese, so it was very easier for us to get around there than it will be to get around Japan. And the people were so nice. It was really cheap to eat. Weather was really good. Infrastructure was amazing, so clean. You could eat your food off the streets, and subway system, all the transport infrastructure was incredible, and amazing. So there you go. I think probably we should get to Taiwan.
Yeah, maybe we should do that one day. I like the sound of Taiwan.
Yeah, sounds great.
It's amazing.
Right. Okay. Where are we? In your opinion, what is one movie that everyone should watch?
I'll be patriotic and say Restless Natives.
Oh, okay. Why is that not ringing a bell with me? Is it new?
No, it's 40 years old now. I think until that came out, because I just saw Tornado very recently. Yeah. Restless Natives would be my pick for like my favourite Scottish movie. And Restless Natives is about two guys, neither of whom has very much money, who live in council flats in Edinburgh, and decide that one of them's got a really shitty job working for the council doing street cleaning, the other one works in a joke shop, and they decide that they're going to get a couple of Halloween masks, not Halloween the movie, but like Halloween the time of the year masks from the shop that the guy works in, get on the tiny little 150cc motorbike that one of them has, and go off and rob tourist buses in the Highlands. So they basically set out on their motorbike and go and start. One of them dresses up like a wolf man. She's got like a wolf mask. Yeah. The other one's got a clown mask. And they go and start ripping off buses of American tourists and robbing them of all their money. But unexpectedly becomes very popular with the tourists, who think it's an incredible experience. And they're both really nice guys. So they don't really hurt anyone, and they're very polite when they're robbing people. So it's got like a kind of like a very nice, pleasant highway bandit men vibe to it. And pretty great soundtrack by Big Country, and lots of great shots of them just riding this little motorbike through the Highlands and robbing tourist buses. And then one of them falls in love with one of the tour guides on one of the buses, and just a great, amazing little slice of British cinema, but specifically Scottish cinema. So I think that's the film that I would hope that everyone sees. But I'm going to supplant it with Tornado, which I just saw this week. And that's not opened wide yet. I think that opens on the 13th of June. But that's another film, although not set in Scotland in the film. Like, the film doesn't say this is Scotland. It was all filmed very close to here. And that's about a Japanese girl and her father living in 1800s Britain, working, doing their own samurai puppet show. And they fall foul of this gang of bandits led by a very villainous Tim Roth on fine villain performance again. And I don't want to tell you how they fall foul of them, but she, specifically the girl who's called Tornado, has to go up against the gang with her samurai sword and her wiles. And it's very, very fucking cool. Really quite low budget, I think, and shot in an unbelievably short length of time. But if you get a chance to see Tornado on the big screen, that's my movie. I think that's probably going to be my movie of the year. So blown away by it. So
you heard that, people. You heard it here first. Go see Tornado.
Yes.
And who is the lead actress in that?
I think she's called Zoki or Zuki. I didn't recognize her from anything else. She's pretty young. Let me double check, so I don't want to mess up. I know the movie's been directed by a man with a very memorable name, because he has the same name as Bruce Willis's character in Die Hard. The director's John McClane.
John McClane. No.
And he previously made a pretty great Western with Michael Fassbender called Slow West about 10 years ago.
Right.
But this one, the main lead actress is called Koki. I think she's Japanese, and there's another Japanese actor as well. Takehiro Hira is in it, and then Tim Roth, Jack Lowden from Slow Horses and Dunkirk, and Rory McCann. Some people might know Rory McCann.
Tim Roth is such a good villain, isn't he?
He's very good in this. It was kind of great.
I love him in Rob Roy. Absolutely fantastic in that. I absolutely love that role. But yeah, great actor. Okay. Right, where are we up to? Number 16. Number 16. Tell us about your best cinema experience ever. And as I said to Andrew, keep it clean.
One of two, but they're both almost the same experience, but just with different movies. And I'll start with a newer one first, then we'll work back. John Wick 3, just because when we went to see it, no one else booked a ticket. So we turned up to the screening and got the entire cinema to ourselves to see John Wick 3 for the first time. And it hadn't been out for that long. It was just, I don't know if it was just the time of day. We saw it in like the afternoon, and our cinema's a bit out the centre of town. But that made that particularly memorable, just because it was almost felt like a private screening. And the other one would be The Matrix Reloaded, which is not that great a movie, but when I was at film school, I'd done this documentary about projection rooms. So I had an assignment. I had to be documentary, so you couldn't make anything that was fictional. Sorry if my cat's making crazy noise in the background.
That's okay. That's cool. We all love cats.
Yeah.
You had to make basically a very short form little documentary, and so I did it on the fact that projectionists or projection booths in cinemas were the last people actually still handling film regularly, because movies were starting to move over to shooting digitally. And so I basically went around all the projection booths at all the cinemas in the city and met all the projectionists. And in the course of doing that, somehow managed to get myself on the press list of a couple of the cinemas. So I would get invited to press screenings of stuff. And being a very penniless film student at that point, it was a great way to see movies for free. So when The Matrix Reloaded was coming round, I got on the press list for it. So went down to see the screening. When we got to the cinema, they said that the cinema screening that they were going to be having was entirely filled with cinema staff, but they'd been drinking since 11 o'clock that morning, and they were too embarrassed to let me in the same room as their very rowdy, very drunk staff. So they said, we'll put it on in a separate cinema for you. So me and my friend that I took with me got to see The Matrix 2 days before opening, or The Matrix Reloaded, in our own little screening room. So that was pretty special.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
That is a cool story. I love that. That's brilliant.
Bit long-winded, as is my style, but
but it's all good stuff. It's all interesting, and people want to know these things. Right, number 17. Tell us about a fight scene that completely blew you away. I know it's going to tear you up because there's so many, but
there is so many. Do we go back to first time that I saw it? Do we go back to because it changed the game? I won't put that much pressure on myself. I'll just go with one that I really enjoy. I think I'm gonna have to pull up my name so I don't mess up the actors involved. But I'm gonna go with Baby Assassin's Nice Days, which is from 2024. And there is a couple of the fight happens a couple of times, but I think the second big fight between one of our two babies, between Saori Izawa, and I think she is going up against Sasuke Ikematsu, who's the kind of main villain in that movie. And I think, I love all three of the Baby Assassins movies, but I think the third one's probably got the strongest action because it's got maybe the best villain for me in that particular movie. So I think the action is, and that's really cool. And the thing about those movies is they've evolved. They've kind of found their own groove or their own style and how they film the fighting. It's quite different to anything else that's happening anywhere else, really.
We've only seen the first one.
He's sort of developed his own sort of style that kind of started being more kind of inspired by boxing than martial arts, and then sort of went to include kind of grappling, and then a bit of gunplay too. So it's kind of evolved into its own thing. And I think
I'm guessing it's. Sorry, I'm just going to say, is it the blonde-haired girl that you're on about?
Yes, yeah.
She's good. Yeah.
She's incredible, and because she was a stunt performer before she started acting in the Babies movies. and she's very, very good. But there's a really great interview on Eric Jacobus's channel where he kind of speaks to Ken Suge, that he speaks to the choreographer of those movies and chats a lot about how he goes together, putting together the scenes. Because a lot of time when they're doing the moves, they get unbelievably close to each other without quite hitting. And he kind of spoke about how he does it, but they're never trying to punch with their fist. They're always trying to catch with their wrist. So they'd be almost like pushing back, so they can almost like have them making contact. It's not so much a Hong Kong full-on contact way, but in a way that makes it a bit easier for the person to just duck out of the way, because when they're feeling the brush of the wrist, they're kind of moving. So it looks like the fists are just going over the top of their head. And I think all the actresses picked that up. There's loads more little great nuggets. Check out that interview if you can. It's a wonderful interview.
Yeah.
But I think that would probably be my movie, and specifically a couple of scenes in that really blew me away, just because they're so unlike what anyone else is doing just now. He's got his own style.
That's cool. We need to see the other two of those, don't we? Because we really loved the first one. We really did. They just keep getting better. It's another favourite question of Leon coming up next, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to say, who put this question down, don't you? In your opinion, what is the sexiest movie scene of all time? Hard to say, really, because I think I'm generally not a fan of sex scenes in movies. I always think they end up being a bit cringy. So I think I'll go. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a sex scene though. It could just be something. That's what I'll go classic, and I'll go like Ursula Andress coming out the ocean in Doctor No. It's going to go with that. Again, I'll play the Patriot card, and I'll pick a Big Tam movie. I'll pick a Sean Connery movie. So yeah, let's do the moment of her coming out, and then the two of them interacting with each other for the first time and singing a little underneath the mango tree song. I don't think anybody else has looked so good coming out of the sea as Ursula Andress. That really worked. Halle Berry came pretty damn close. Halle Berry in whichever. She did, but I do like her. But the movie that was happening in was not great. But I think so I'd be remiss to pick the Halle Berry scene from which movie is that? Is that Die Another Day? I think it is Die Another Day, isn't it? Yeah, it is Die Another Day. Yeah, it's the last one that Brosnan did, isn't it? Yeah, and Halle Berry still looks incredible today. Like, even though she's must be in her 50s. Yeah, yeah, she's stunning, isn't she? Yeah. But again, that scene probably couldn't have happened without they had to pay tribute to the original one. Like, that's why it was there. So I think let's go back to the source and go back to Ursula Andress, who's also really pretty at that point. She's really, really cool in Red Sun as well, in the Western Red Sun. Oh yeah. Yeah, I love her in Red Sun. That's so good. To show me through an Angel Bronson. Right. No, we've done that one. Number 19, which horror movie is the one that most messed with your head? It's an easy one. The Shining. Definitely The Shining. Unquestionably The Shining. Probably was too young when I saw it. And I think it was the bathroom scene with the woman that then transforms into like the corpse zombie strange. That was that caused me some issues, but also just the weirdness of the Red Rum voice and everything about the sort of sinisterness of that movie, like it's sort of creeping tension, even when there's nothing particularly violent or particularly crazy going on the screen. Even just the little boy rolling around on the carpets on his little trike and then turning the corner and you see the two twins. Just like there's a lot of stuff that's seared into my brain in a way that no other some imagery close. Kubrick was the master. And have you ever read the book? No. I only really know the film. I know that Stephen King not a fan of Kubrick's movie, but everything that Shelley Duvall does in that movie as well, incredible. Like she's and to her own detriment, because I think she had a horrible time making that movie. Kubrick was too much of a chess player, so he rather than speaking to someone about how can I get the best performance from you, he would be a tactician. He'd work out how can I get the best performance out of this person. And in Shelley Duvall's case, it was how do I make this person a nervous wreck and then turn the camera on. So he just tormented her to a ridiculous degree. And that's a shame. Just do really super cruel stuff. Like he'd put her behind a door and say, okay, when we call action, you come through the door. Then he'd just lock the door on the other side. And then he'd call like, Shelley, and she'd be on the other side trying to get through this door that's locked. And then he'd finally unlock the door, let her through and give her a bollocking in front of everyone for messing up the shot and wasting everyone's time and stuff, just to get her more and more anxious and more freaked out.
And they'd do this like 5 or 6 times in a row, and then by the 10th time she would just be a gibbering, nervous wreck. You'd be like, great, that's the shot we'll use, which is super cruel, but makes her performance in it pretty memorable, because you are watching someone really losing their mind a little bit. I think she's been given them since in documentaries, but the other thing I remember about The Shining was Jack Nicholson saying that Stanley Kubrick said to him, this is really a very optimistic, kind of happy story. And Jack Nicholson was like, how on earth can you come to that conclusion? He's like, well, it's kind of a ghost story, and anything that says there's anything after death is a kind of happy, optimistic story. Jack Nicholson.
Well, I guess if he says so.
Interesting.
I'm not going to argue with Kubrick.
Yeah.
No, there's an amazing documentary, called The Life in Pictures, that I would recommend if people haven't seen, about Kubrick, not just about The Shining, but about all of Kubrick's movies, filled with talking heads, like everyone you would want to hear speak about Kubrick's in there, like Tom Cruise is in there, and Jack Nicholson's in there, and Shelley Duvall's in there, everybody, and it's wonderful. I think it's like 3 hours long or something, but some amazing Shining stories in that. I highly recommend. So yeah, The Shining.
Cool. Okay, so number 20. This is the last question. In the year ahead, what are you most looking forward to?
Not specifically just in cinema, just like in general.
Yeah, in general, just in life. What's really on the horizon that you're thinking, I'm really looking forward to that?
Getting through the other side of my various operations that I've been doing, I think is probably the most immediate one. Getting back to being able to eat properly again would be nice. But in a wider sense, traveling again, but I don't know when that's going to be. But I do love to travel. That's a bit vague. So yeah, I'd say probably sorting my teeth and my mouth out, and then looking forward to traveling and eating some great food.
I feel you, brother. Right, well, that has been an absolutely amazing bunch of questions. Just one thing we have to ask Johnny now. Johnny knows who the next guest is.
I do.
So do you have a rotating question for our next guest?
I do. And I hope that it is going to be who it's going to be when we're talking. If somebody else jumps in, I apologize, because this question might not mean that much to them. But if it is who I think it is, what is your favorite electronic score for a movie, Hong Kong or otherwise?
Ooh, very good. So, I like it very much.
So I mean, doesn't need to be could be a mix of different instrumentation, but I'm sort of thinking old school, like synthesizer, Tangerine Dream, John Carpenter sort of vibe, electronic score to movie.
Okay.
Nice. I like it.
Right,
good. We will fix that then as the rotator.
Yep.
Thank you very much for letting us do this today, Dragon.
My pleasure.
We really appreciated it.
Thank you for listening to my extensive rambling. I do have a tendency to go on a bit.
We love listening to you. The guys out there love listening to you, and we're just all grateful you're around, giving us, all the news, all the entertainment that we want through YouTube and the podcast. So thank you very much, brother. We do appreciate you. And if there is a couple of our viewers that aren't subscribed to Johnny, what are you doing? Subscribe to the Fanatical Dragon, and definitely listen to the Might Avengers. And that's all. Anything you'd like to say before we sign off?
Go and see Tornado. If it's playing at a cinema near you, go and see Tornado. I don't think it's going to get that big a release. So if you do get a chance to go and see it on the big screen, go and see it, because it's incredible.
Okay, well, that'll be all for this episode then, and we will see you guys when we're back with Within the Asian Cinema Circle episode 3. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.
Take care.